Hello and welcome to BQ Prama. I'm Hiral Daria. Lumax Auto Technologies wants stock to focus on as they're expanding their wings, and they've announced a strategic partnership by acquiring majority stake in IAC India. To give us more details on this, we have Anmol Jain who joins us on the show. Anmol, welcome to the show and a very good afternoon.
Good morning, Hero.
Anmol, my first question coming to you is overall, firstly, in terms of the acquisition, what are the key synergies that we're looking at, specifically from an India market perspective?
So, Hero, I think Lumax Auto Technologies, the core competency lies in plastics, injection, painting, assembly. The whole idea was how do we expand on that? And I think the segment mix, I think Lumax Auto Technologies has been pursuing avenues to expand its footprint in the passenger vehicle space. So this gives a huge synergy in terms of the product, in terms of the segment market, and also from a technology standpoint. Plastics is something which we want to really grow on. And Lumax Auto Technologies has been doing a lot of plastic products, but with this, we will be able to sell to our customers as a consolidated system module supplier, thereby moving up the value chain and creating more kit value per vehicle.
Right. Overall, if you talk about this deal, it's been in the making since quite some time. And if we see the deal history in terms of partnerships that we've fostered, I think in the last couple of years, if I see, it's always been in that range of 20 to 50% overall. I think the last deal was, or the last partnership, I would say, was with SL Corporation, where we went above that 70% mark. I think 78.72 is what we, actually purchased in SL Lumax, right? Now, what is the reason to go as high as 75%? Because the other ones have been a lower number. I mean, I'll give you examples in terms of Alps Alpine or Yokowo, or even for that matter, Faye.
So, Hiral, I think Lumax has been always going with partnerships. We believe in a very collaborative and a very partnership approach, and our focus has always been on the India growth story. I think we consider ourselves as a partner to get the global technologies from global players to meet the needs of our Indian customers. I think there is no set formula. We're very clear that we do not take any minority positions. We are usually taking an equal 50-50 position or a majority position at the request of the partner. So every partnership has its different dynamics. But I think as Lumax, we consider ourselves to add significant value for the Indian market into all our joint ventures or partnerships. And hence, there is a strong trust which the partner bestows upon Lumax to try and take a majority and run the management from the local, day-to-day operations, etc. So that's been our strategy. And, we've had partnerships which are the longest being 4 decades old, and the youngest being 2 days old, which is IAC India.
Right. So overall, from a partnership perspective, what's the role that IAC Global will continue to play in this entity?
So first and foremost, IAC India is a self-independent entity. It has 5 manufacturing facilities spread near its customers. Also, it has a very strong technical engineering center which employs more than 150 engineers. So a lot of the product development, engineering, design happens here in Pune, and the engineering center is very much a part of the transaction. IAC Global will continue to provide technology which is cutting edge, the future evolution of technology for these products, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years down the line. That's something which they will continue to provide to IAC India. And the rest of the things will be pretty independently managed and run at IAC India level. And of course, both Lumax and IAC Global will continue to give direction from the board perspectives to IAC India.
Right. So would it be right to say that operations execution is something that Lumax Auto will actually concentrate on in terms of IAC India? And from a technology support, it's going to be IAC Global who will be actually supporting the company?
So I would say as follows, that IAC India has a very strong and independent management team, which has successfully brought IAC India to where it is today. And that continues on an as-is basis, no changes there. Lumax will definitely bring a lot of synergies with respect to expansion of customer base, cross-selling of products, also certain operational and sourcing synergies, because we will bring that scale into the new entity. IAC Global will continue to provide the engineering, technical, and technology inputs and innovation, which they have been doing in the past as well. So I think both partners bring a lot of value on the table for this entity, but I think the entity has a strong team which will continue to deliver on the long-term goals.
Right. Another thing is, in terms of the synergies, is that always, the management of Lumax had a long-term vision as well, to diversify in the passenger vehicle segment, right? Now, this is one of the strengths that IAC also brings along with the kind of customer base they have from a passenger vehicle segment basis. So, with this acquisition or with this partnership, where do we see our passenger vehicle segment growing? And currently, I think it's around 25% kind of contribution is what we're seeing. After post that, how much is the contribution that we will see from passenger segment?
So you're absolutely right. I think the long-term strategy for Lumax Technologies has always been to grow the passenger vehicle space. Lumax Technologies has largely been a 2-3-wheeler segment player. We have come down dramatically in that piece of the pie, but we are very bullish and buoyant about the passenger vehicle space in the Indian market, and I think it will continue to grow, probably outperform the other segments. So I think earlier the 2 and 3-wheelers was about 40%, and you're right, passenger cars was roughly around 22 to 25%. Lumax Technologies consolidated, and I think our long-term goal has been always to get 1/3 of the pie from passenger vehicles, 1/3 from probably 2 and 3-wheelers, and the rest from commercial and aftermarket. And I think post this transaction on a consolidated basis, we would be more or less close to that strategic intent. I don't have the exact numbers, but yes, I think we would be close to 1/3 or slightly higher on passenger vehicle post this transaction.
Right. And overall, if you see in terms of the value content per vehicle, does that change anywhere?
Significantly. As I said before, right now we do a lot of different products. This is pretty much the entire interior system. So we do a lot of the entire dashboard and the cockpits as a front module. Also do a lot of door panels as a complete module. So our value content per vehicle or kit value could go anywhere from 5, 6, 7,000 rupees till upwards of 30,000 rupees on a vehicle, depending on the products which go into that particular model.
So is that the current kit value, or is this the kit value we will look at even post IAC coming in?
This is post IAC coming in for Lumax Auto Technologies. Typically on a passenger vehicle, let's say right now from a sub 5,000 per vehicle value, we would go up from, let's say, from 5,000 to maybe 8, 10,000 up to 30,000 per vehicle.
Right. And overall, now that, the synergies have come together, the kind of support that a Lumax Auto will give, the kind of support that IAC Global will give, what's the aim? Where do we want to take IAC India from a revenue and a growth perspective?
So again, once we're in the driving seat, we will, start creating a 3-year roadmap. But clearly, there would be not just operational and sourcing synergies, which I mentioned earlier, but I think we would definitely like to expand the customer base. I think right now there is a strong and healthy order book, which IAC India is sitting on. First would be to execute that flawlessly, as has been the case in the recent past. And then, of course, we will start a dialogue with other customers and hopefully in the next few years, try to diversify the customer portfolio of IAC India a lot more in the passenger and commercial vehicle space.
Right. And overall, again, from a sourcing perspective, clearly when you talk about plastic and polymer, it's a very similar kind of raw material that is being used by both, Lumax as well as an IAC. So from a cost perspective, do we see, costs going down, which will then translate into the bottom line and margins?
Well, we surely hope so. Again, we've not, as I said, dwelled deeper into that right now. But yet, at a 30,000 feet level, we do expect certain synergies, and both ways. It could be not just IAC India benefiting from it. It could be also Lumax Auto Technologies could benefit from certain sourcing and operational synergies as well.
Right. So overall, if we see the 9-month FY23 numbers of IAC, around 470 odd crores is that, IAC has already clocked in. I mean, 500 crores not too far in terms of FY23. 24, is it something that we will aim to achieve double-digit growth for an IAC from here on?
Well, certainly hope so. I think the key customer being Mahindra has very bullish plans. And I think it also enjoys a very good traction on certain, recent model launches. So I am pretty bullish about a double-digit growth going forward, but that's something, again, we will have to see based on how FY23 pans out for IAC India. And then going forward, FY24 should look very promising.
Right. And overall, Anmol, from a financial perspective, is the deal EPS accretive?
Well, absolutely. I think the deal will give us a strong impact on the EPS as well. The entire debt, I mean, there is a part debt, part internal accruals, but I think considering the macro financial parameters of IAC India, it will definitely give us a strong strength to LATL's balance sheet as well.
Right. So from a numbers perspective, how are we seeing the consolidated numbers to change? I know you've mentioned that you've not really gone deep into it yet, but anything that you could give us on that front?
Well, it's too early, but I think from an operating margins, definitely there are better margins at IAC India. So on a consolidated level, I think we should surely inch forward towards our midterm, long-term goal of Lumax Auto Technologies to operate in teen EBITDA margins. So clearly, this would definitely help us there. Also, from a asset turn ratio, I think this company, IAC India, does a better asset turns than Lumax Auto Technologies. We do about 2.5, 2.7x currently. So that will also be benefiting Lumax Auto Technologies at a consolidated level.
Right. And from here on, now that we've already got something in the pie with regards to the passenger vehicle segment, I mean, again, this is a hypothetical situation. If we have to look at acquisitions from an inorganic growth perspective, what segments will we look at?
We just follow our customers. And as I said, we always see where are certain opportunities where we can play on our strengths and our core competencies. There would be multiple opportunities for acquisitions, but we really believe on our core strengths. Right now, again, I think we will focus on what we have on our plate, try to bring this to a position where it really belongs, and then possibly look at other opportunities in the long-term future.
Right. And how are we funding this entire partnership?
So about 15 to 20% of the total outlay would be funded by internal accruals, and the rest would be taken by debt.
Okay. And what does this take the overall debt to if you have to break it up between short-term and long-term?
So I think it will be close to around, out of the 440 for the 75%, I think give or take 350 to 375 would be the debt quotient, and the rest would be, let's say, give or take internal accruals. And again, there is strong cash flows both at LATL as well as IAC India. So servicing the debt should not be an issue.
Right. And moving on, any particular markets that we will be focusing on from here on in terms of expansion plans?
So clearly, India market is the key market for our growth strategy. And as I said, the market remains India, but we will expand on the customer base. Having said that, IAC India currently does certain programs for export customers, and those continue to be as is basis.
Right. And any key milestones and more that we are looking to cross as a company from here on?
Well, clearly, first and foremost, I would like to close this transaction, and then start talking with the management team. And I think, in a couple of months, we will have more clarity in terms of where we want to really take and what is the hidden potential which lies ahead of us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anmol, and congratulations again for this kind of a partnership. And it's always been the case that you've always looked at partnerships and not acquisitions, in history. Congratulations. Stay safe and speak to you soon again.
Thank you, Hero. Thank you.